What's up guys, Kyle here again, and welcome to the very first episode of the Belligerent Amateur Variety Show. Recently when discussing with you guys the FAQ'N Friday videos and the viewers comments videos kind of going away, I was thinking about other ways that I could incorporate those into maybe a segment-based episode that I do once every couple of weeks where I do both FAQ'N Friday questions, I do viewers comments, I integrate my tweak my tone idea, and then maybe throw a couple of curveballs at you, a couple different random segments as well, things that we can kind of brainstorm as we go. But for today, we are gonna check out new gear that you guys will be seeing coming up on the channel very soon. And I am also just gonna go through all of my gear and throw together a fun rig to check out with you guys. So that is gonna be how this episode goes. If you have any suggestions for these episodes moving forward, I am all ears. Make sure to throw them down in the comments. That way I can review them and maybe implement anything that you guys come up with that sounds really fun and interesting for the show. So without further ado, let's start with some FAQ'N Friday questions. These questions all come from my Discord server, which is where I'm going to be fielding questions for these episodes moving forward. So if you want to get in, have your question answered on one of these episodes, make sure to join my Discord server, which I will put the link in the description of the video below. That way you can join the Belligerent Amateur community and maybe have one of your questions featured in a future episode. Thanks! All right, first question comes from Alex LM36, and he says, "Hi Kyle. Can you give me some combinations of stacked overdrives to boost a JCM 800? And what precise settings do you use on the amp? I'm looking for an OD to stack with my ST9. Thanks! The first thing that I will recommend to you, Alex, is get a 10-band EQ or an EQ with a level on it. That way you can stick it in front of whatever overdrive it is that you are using in order to not only adjust the EQ of your guitar signal going into the amp, but using the level on the EQ to provide additional output or additional signal going into the overdrive, therefore giving an even hotter signal to the front of the JCM 800 and getting it into higher gain territory. Some guys that are famous for doing this are Gary Holt and Kerry King, both of Slayer, Gary Holt of Exodus, but pretty much a tried and true method to really get a JCM 800 into true high gain territory. Otherwise, I have found that the Mesa Grid Slammer works really, really well in stacking with other overdrives in front of a JCM 800. It just has the right EQ. It doesn't really suck out any of the low end, and it provides a pretty hot signal. So combining that with your ST9 probably gets you exactly what you're looking for, man. As far as exact amp settings, I don't really provide that because it's gonna depend on your guitar, it's gonna depend on your cabin speakers, it's gonna depend on your room. So once you stack those overdrives, go from there and adjust the EQ on the amp to fill in whatever's missing from your guitar signal. Hope that helps. Next question comes from Jimmy Biter, and he asks, Kyle, if you were to design your own amp, what would it sound like and what would the feature set be? Great question, man, and as somebody who has many amps, that's really hard to narrow down. I think that I would want three things out of it, and basically that would be 3 channels with 3 of my favorite sounds. So I would think channel number 1 would have to be a low to a mid-gain channel, if you guys can believe that, for whenever I want to play that type of stuff. And my favorite low to mid-gain tones come out of my Splawn Quick Rod. So basically the plexi setting on the Splawn Quick Rod would probably be channel 1. Channel 2 would probably be yet another Splawn channel because you guys know that I really love those Splawn amplifiers. So channel 2 would probably be the gain channel from my Splawn Pro Stock 6550. That is my first year Splawn 6550, and that one is just the best sounding Splawn that I have gotten so far. It's the most raw, it has the most low end, and it also has the most saturation. It just sounds like a really good hot rodded, raw, pissed off JCM 800. So that would definitely be channel number 2. And channel number 3 would be something of the 5150 variety. It would probably be something similar to the blue channel on the 6L6 100 watt Stealth, as that really has pretty much become my favorite iteration of the 5150 as of late. It's changing all the time, but it would be, if it's not gonna be a 5150 channel, it would be some sort of Soldano DNA type amp. So it would be the 5150, it would be, you know, some sort of modded rectifier or Rev F type rectifier, something that's a little bit tighter, or even something like, you know, my Mezza Barba amps. I love the overdrive channel on those, so it really is gonna depend on that channel. I would want some options. I would definitely want some low-end reaction options in case I do want a little bit of a thicker and a looser low end, much like the SLO or much like the Mezza Barba Trinity, and then the option to tighten it back up and give it more of a 5150 feel. I would also want probably like a mid-shift option in order to move the mids around. Style 1 would be 5150 mids, Style 2 would be Marshall mids, Style 3 would be Mesa mids, but actually kind of accomplish it accurately. So I think that those would be the things that I would definitely go for. And then on the master section of the amp, you would get a presence and a resonance like pretty much every other amp that I really enjoy. But I would also like to get a tight knob put on there, which is essentially a low shelf, much like the Friedman Buxom Boost has. If you could put a tight knob that is built into the power section that kind of rolls off some of the really sub-low frequencies to tighten up the amp, I think that that would be really, really cool. Maybe that's something that even comes on the front of the amp as opposed to the power section where you can adjust the tightness of the signal going into the amp. That's probably a cool idea as well. But yeah, I think that that would pretty much cover it as far as me designing my own amp and what I would want out of it. All right, and last question comes from Foreskin Jdimer Extreme. That's a name. Any guitars you've had your eyes on either for a video or just for personal use? Yes, there is one guitar that I have been drooling over lately, and I'm actually gonna probably shoot Sweetwater a message sometime this week because I've really wanted to check it out. The new Epiphone guitars, pretty much ever since they've started doing the Inspired by Gibson, have not only gotten rave reviews, but they've really caught my eye because I feel like Epiphone has kind of stepped it up and actually started listening to what their customer base wants. And they have released a couple of awesome signature Epiphone guitars, and the one that I really, really want is the Matt Heafy signature. I would love to get the white 6-string Les Paul Matt Heafy Origins guitar with the Fishman Fluence pickups in it. I think that thing looks so sick. I have wanted a white Gibson Les Paul Custom for longer than I can remember, but with the current prices of Les Paul Customs, I'm not going to be adding any more to my collection anytime soon. So I think that guitar looks super sick. I would love to test the quality of the newer Epiphone guitars. And honestly, that's just a guitar that I would love to add to my collection for personal reasons. So that is 100% the guitar that I have had my eyes on. And I think I'm gonna do my best to try and get it on the channel pretty soon. So if you guys wanna see that, sound off in the comments. That way I'll know to reach out to Sweetwater to try and get one on here to make a video review for you guys, and you know, also so I can try it. You win, I win. We all win. Okay guys, for the next portion of the video, we have New Gear Day. All right guys, for the next portion of the video, we have New Gear Day, where I'm gonna reveal to you some of the gear that I have either picked up in the last couple of weeks or some of the gear that has been sent to me by companies in order to demo for you guys. So we're gonna kick it off right to start because I've gotten a lot of new gear recently, so let's do it. All right guys, so the first new piece of gear we have is the VHT D412 Deliverance cab. This cab has the stock Eminence P50E speakers in it, and I get asked all the time as somebody who is a VHT Fryette fan if I enjoy the Fat Bottom or the Deliverance cab, so I managed to pick one up from a friend not that long ago for a great price, so we are gonna dive into this cab very, very soon, see what those P50Es sound like and see what this cab is capable of. Next new piece of gear is the Marshall DSL 100HR. This is the latest iteration of the DSL from Marshall, and from what I have heard from people, it is supposed to be like the best sounding one yet, I guess. I don't know. I think they have all sounded great, including the DSL 100H, which a lot of people seem to talk a lot of smack on. I'm guessing it's just because it was made overseas, but the JCM 2000 models weren't all that reliable either, so. With this model and with the previous model, the DSL 100H, Marshall fixed a crucial error on the JCM 2000s, which is adding a resonance knob in place of the deep knob so you can actually control the low end response better on these amps. I had my own DSL 50 custom modified to do the same thing, but these amps now include it stock from the factory. So I currently have a DSL 100 JCM 2000 model. I now have this, so you're gonna get a dedicated video on this. And I'm gonna try to pick up a DSL 100H so we can have a three-way shootout of all the 100-watt models of the DSL. Next up, we have the Bad Cat Cougar 50. Bad Cat is a company that I have wanted to check out for quite a while. I'll be honest, the looks and the type of people who usually play these amps kind of led me away from them for a long time, but recently talking to my friend Joe Balaguer, he kind of turned me on to the fact that these are kind of like hot rodded Marshall style amplifiers. So ever since he told me that, of course, I became interested in them and I managed to pick up this Cougar 50 for a great price. Now, these were Bad Cat's short-lived import line. I think they only made these for a year or two, and it's basically just a 50-watt take on a modded Marshall circuit. I've already played this amp. I think it sounds incredible, and I'm really excited to do a demo with this thing. And of course, with all the amps that I am including here now on this segment, I'm gonna be making some Quad Cortex and some Kemper profiles for you guys. So if you're a fan of modded Marshall tones, even something like the DSL 100HR, I think you're really gonna like what this amp has to offer, because it sounds awesome. I don't know why my voice is doing this. Next up, we have the Laney GH100 Ti. This is the Tony Iommi signature Laney amp. These are incredibly hard to track down, and I tracked one down. I managed to find one. It's extremely clean, and we are gonna get a demo of this amplifier up on the channel. This has been one that people have kind of asked me about, but it seems like not many people have a lot of experience with it. When I revealed that I had a When I revealed that I had a GH100L in my collection, a lot of people started asking me about this amplifier. So luckily, one popped up at a price that I could not refuse. So again, we're gonna get this thing on the channel. I can already tell you that this is a really cool and a really unique sounding amp. Kind of takes what the GH100L does and takes it a step further. I think it sounds really good, and I think you guys are gonna be really surprised at this amp and how well it does the belligerent amateur chuggery. So keep an eye out for a demo on this amp soon. And last but not least, for the new amps, we have the Gibson VH2. If you guys saw my recent short, you'll know that Guitar Center basically threw this in a cab box with a bunch of trash, and that's how they packed this extremely expensive amplifier. So I haven't fired it up yet. I really hope it works. If it does work, then we are definitely gonna check this out on the channel. As some of you may know, I am not the biggest fan of the Gibson VH4. I like the other amps in the lineup much better. Hoping that the Gibson VH2 is kind of a little bit more of a compressed, saturated amplifier than the VH4, and that maybe this will kind of fix some of the things about the VH4 that I don't necessarily love. I'm not counting on it though. If you guys have any experience with this amp though, I'm really curious to see what you think about it, and if you're excited to get this here on the channel, let me know down in the comments and I will push this one up in the queue, because I'm pretty excited to check it out myself, and I really hope that I dig it. So that's it for the new amps. We've got a couple other items though. So that is gonna do it for the new gear portion of today's video. Hope that we've got some cool stuff coming up that you guys are looking forward to. Hope that you guys saw something cool that you're excited about seeing on the channel soon. And if you did, let me know which piece it is down in the comments. Today's super duper smart big brain genius comment comes from Thomas Terry. And he says, "You are using a Mesa. They suck. Use the 900 bottom cab or the 1960A and you won't say thin no more. Mesa are expensive trash." If there's one thing Mesa cabs are known for, it's their poor build quality. Alright guys, this segment is called Tweak My Tone, and what I do is I have you, the viewer, send in submissions showing me your guitar tone, telling me what it is that you used in your rig, and basically asking me to help you try to fix whatever it is that you don't like about your tone. So yeah, that's what it is. So let's do it. So for this week's entry, we have Roger VD Graph, and he says, "Hey Kyle, I am a longtime Bushido code enjoyer and a YouTube watcher from day one. Here is my submission. Number one, quick pause. That's really cool that he was a fan of Bushido code. at the beginning of the channel. That's really cool. That's my band, in case you guys don't remember that. It's been a while since I've mentioned Bushido code, but yeah, very cool. Gear used: Ormsby Hype and Drop C, Aris Effects Savage Drive, ISP G String, Engel Gigmaster 15, DBX 32 band EQ, Engel 212H with a V30 and a G12 H100. The H100 is a speaker I've actually never tried before, but I believe from everything I've read that it's very similar to a K100. The amp doesn't react the same as my other amps to my boost, but it's all right. The tone stack, on the other hand, is the worst. I have to cut a lot of low mids, as you can see in the video, and I have to add more high mids and top end to get the aggression I need. I feel like I'm almost there, but not all the way. So I did a video on the Gigmaster, and I know exactly what you're talking about, man. It's very boxy in the low mids, and it's just a really kind of round and kind of just not great sounding amplifier on its own. But with that 32 band EQ that you have and the Savage Drive, I imagine that that can probably get you closer to where you want to be, but I already have an idea to help you. We're gonna listen to the tone real quick though, so let's actually listen to it, and please don't put any viruses on my computer. Right off the bat, that sounds very much like Engel. I mean, I see you're an Engel fan. You've got a couple of really cool cabs here. That 212 vertical cab is a cab I would really like to own. But Engel has a very kind of processed sound to it. The top end and the high mids are pretty rolled off, and usually they're a little bit scoopy in the mids. The mids aren't very forward. I am hearing that right now. It doesn't sound bad to me, but I definitely hear the low mids that you're struggling with. My suggestion, man, that Aris Savage Drive, I personally was never a fan of it because it doesn't really kind of cut out any of the low mids, and it doesn't add an upper mid boost like a lot of other overdrives do. And based on what you're telling me and based on what I'm hearing through my monitors right now, I think that you would really benefit from a brighter overdrive that cuts more low mids and adds more aggressive upper mids. So honestly, I think if you threw a Boss SD1 on your board in front of the amp and then boosted the lows from your 32 band EQ, if you have that in the loop, which is what I am assuming that you do, or where you have it in the signal, I think that that would really go a long way in helping accomplish what it is that you're looking for. It doesn't sound bad though, man. That's a good tone, especially for what you're going for. Quick note, Get the Shot is a Canadian hardcore band that I've actually been familiar with for quite a while, and believe that my friends know some of them, some of those band guys as well. Cool band, but anyways, we continue. Yeah, as far as, I don't know what pickup you're using either, and the pickup could be part of the issue. I think it's mostly the Engel Gigmaster, but I think adding that SD1 and boosting some lows in the loop of the Engel Gigmaster will help get you a long way to where that it is you're trying to go. Also, replacing that G12 H100, if it is anything like a K100, with an H75 creamback will also give you more of an upper mid aggression to pair with that V30 and probably take away some of that lower mid boxiness that you're trying to get rid of. So those would be my suggestions, man. And I don't know what pickup you're using, but a pickup that has great upper mid aggression is the Seymour Duncan Omega, the Mark Holcomb signature. That is one of my favorite modern pickups. So not sure what pickups you're using, but that is another pickup that would probably help push you in the direction that you're trying to go a little bit more. But yeah, those are my suggestions, man. Try them out if you get a chance, and report back and let us know if that helped you out at all. And yeah, hope this helps. Thanks for the submission. All right, guys, for this week's Sick Rig, dude, we have my FJA modified PV5150 block letter going into an Avatar signature 212 cab with K85 speakers that came from an old Celestion 412 MS cabinet. We have my Gibson Les Paul Classic with a Seymour Duncan Black Winter and the bridge. This is a guitar I bought for 500 bucks about 7 years ago because it had a headstock repair, and it has been one of my favorite guitars ever. So as far as the 5150, I actually bought this amp for $450 locally off Craigslist. It has the FJA metal mod. It has the KT88 6L6 integrated quad. The FJA metal mod is like the most expensive mod that you can get from FJA amplifiers. I think it costs like $1,300, and he goes in, he tweaks both the green and the red channel. He puts a new output transformer in the amp. He installs a choke and basically just kind of tries to solve some of the problems that people had with the original 5150. It is clearer. It has less of that Cocteau mid sound. It has more gain, which I don't know why, because nobody needs more gain out of these things. And overall, it's just a really cool sounding 5150, very unique amp that I am super happy to have in my collection. So without further ado, let's hear this rig. And just to let you guys know, I'm using a different mic. I'm not using the SM57. I have a Lewitt MTP 440 on that K85 because I wanted to try something a little different for this segment. So that's what I'm doing. Okay guys, so that was with no boost on whatsoever. It's very tight. It kind of has a different top end grind to it, but it's still very much a 5150. We're gonna turn the gain down. We're gonna kick on the Friedman Buxom boost because you guys know that I love that pedal. All right, and we are also going to go ahead and just kick that low end into gear here. A lot of clarity. It still kind of has that PV top end fizz to the gain structure, which I like. It disappears a little bit as you turn the volume up. All right guys, last but not least, let's try the good old Boss SD1 on this thing. Oh, that is a thrash tone right there. Let's get just a little bit more gain on it and a little bit more low end. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today on the very first episode of the Belligerent Amateur Variety Show. I can't even say it right. I hope that you guys enjoyed this show, the very first episode. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments so I should know whether to keep making these or not. If you enjoyed it, I would love to keep doing these. I think it's a fun idea. If not, let me know that you hated it and I won't do it anymore. And if you have any suggestions for future episodes and other things that I could include in these episodes, Please feel free to let me know down in the comments. I would really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, especially when I have barely been able to form actual human words in this episode. If you want to support the channel, all the applicable usual links apply. My Sweetwater affiliate link and everything down in the description helps me out. You guys can buy some Belligerent Amateur merch down below the description. That also helps very much. And finally, you can become a member of my Patreon community and support the channel that way. I'll love you forever whether you want me to or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.